The first time I spotted her, she was standing at the edge of my land like she owned the place. Hands on her hips, visor pushed back, lips pursed so tight, I thought she might swallow her own face. That was Jolene Everly, president of the Spring Pines HOA. The type of lady who looked like she'd file a noise complaint if she heard a squirrel sneeze. I'll never forget the way she sized me up. Right there on my own property. Name's Quentin Granger. I'm a mechanic, not a lawyer, but after a decade of long shifts and side hustles, I finally bought myself 20 wooded acres just outside. City limits. No HOA, no neighborhood bylaws. Just me, a bunch of trees, and the odd deer slipping between the shadows. Peace. Real, honest-to-God peace, until the day I built the deer stand. I set it up on the western edge, 20 yards inside my line, tucked into a hollow where the light fell soft in the late afternoon. Took all weekend, but I was proud. Solid frame, camo, weatherproof seat. My little slice of solitude. I guess word got out fast, because Jolene showed up before the last bolt was even tight. She marched right up like Normandy. "Excuse me," she called, brandishing a manila folder like a badge. "What do you think you're doing?" I wiped sweat from my brow, tried to keep my tone polite. "Building a deer stand on my land. This area is governed by the Spring Pines HOA," she barked, snapping the folder open. "Hunting structures are strictly prohibited." I leaned on the post I'd just set. "Well, this isn't Spring Pines. Check the boundaries. Before I bought. This is unincorporated county, not your HOA." She looked at me like I'd started speaking Greek. "That can't be right." "Sure is. County records don't lie. I had a lawyer confirm it. Before I bought a single thing." She sniffed, scrolled her phone, said she'd escalate to the board. "It's not appropriate to have a hunting tower so close to our community. It creates a threatening atmosphere." I raised an eyebrow. "The only thing this tower threatens is the local deer population." She didn't laugh, just spun around and stalked off, like the trees should part for her. I figured that'd be it. Yeah, that happened. 2 days later, I come back from a supply run, and there's a bright orange sticker slapped across my stand. Notice of violation. Structure not approved. By HOA. I laughed so hard I had to lean on a tree. Bottom line, said I'd be fined daily if I didn't remove it. I snapped a picture, sent it straight to my lawyer. Next morning, my driveway is full. Jolene, 2 board members, one holding a clipboard like a nuke launch code. Jolene doesn't let me get a word in. "If you don't take it down by Friday, we'll begin issuing fines and may pursue legal action." "Legal action for a deer stand on land you don't own?" I ask, folding my arms. "You're within view of our property. That makes it our concern." I took a step closer. "Let me say this. Real clear. You don't own this land. You don't govern it. You have no authority here." Her nostrils flared. "We'll see about that." They marched off, heads held high, like they'd actually accomplished something. But Jolene wasn't bluffing. A couple days later, I get a call from the county zoning office. A woman named Patrick, polite but clearly tired. She tells me she's received a complaint. Unauthorized structure, potential hunting hazard near a residential zone. Who filed it? I ask. She sighs. Spring Pines HOA. They sent maps, photos, even claimed your deer stand was erected without a permit. I laugh again. That land's zoned agricultural residential. No permit needed unless it's over 35 feet tall or has plumbing. I know, Patrick says, but when HOAs call, we have to investigate, even if it's nonsense. She comes out next morning, boots covered in clay, clipboard ready, measures the stand, takes pictures, tells me straight. It's legal. Well inside your property, under the height limit, no utilities. Nothing wrong here. I thank her. Before leaving, she hesitates. Why does that HOA care so much about a deer stand they can't touch? I look out at the trees. Because they're not used to hearing the word no. She nods. If they pull this again, I'll file a formal complaint with the county commission. Should have been the end. Wasn't. 3 days later, there's a sign hammered into the ditch by my fence. Notice, proposed rezoning hearing, parcel 47B, petitioned by Spring Pines HOA. I about lost it. They were trying to rezone my land. Next morning, I storm into the county office. The clerk pulls up the file, hands me a copy. Sure enough, Jolene's name's right there, 5 more board members below her. They want my land absorbed into the HOA boundary to preserve community aesthetics and safety. I say they can't do this. The clerk lowers her voice. They shouldn't. But if they get enough support at the hearing, the commission might consider it. On my drive home, I passed 2 more hearing notices posted near the Spring Pines entrance. They were already claiming my land in public. That night, I call my buddy Logan, an ex-county attorney turned small-town lawyer. He says they're trying to force annexation. If they convince the commission it's in the public interest, they might win. What kind of public interest? Safety, order, property values. They'll say anything. Truth is, they want control. Want to shut down your deer stand. Make an example of you. He agrees to represent me pro bono. Reminds him of a case he beat years ago, where an HOA tried to seize a homeowner's wind turbine off-grid. That one ended in a class action lawsuit and a revoked charter. We gather evidence. County GIS maps showing boundary lines, opposition docs to the commission, statements from neighbors, including a retired wildlife officer who testifies the stands. Standard practice for this area, no safety threat at all. But right when we're making progress, the bomb drops. Sheriff's deputies show up with a search warrant. Suspected unlicensed firearms, modifications, and hazardous hunting materials. I stare at the warrant, at the officer. Where the hell's this coming from? He shrugs. Anonymous tip. We gotta check. They turn my house, my shed. The stand, find nothing. All legal, all above board. The last deputy, leaving, turns to me. Don't know who you pissed off, but they're pulling strings. Logan digs around, finds out the tip came from a prepaid phone under a fake name, routed through a third party. The timing? Perfectly aligned with the rezoning petition. We file a complaint, block the rezoning until the false tip gets sorted. Word spreads. Hunters, farmers, landowners show up to commission meetings to support me. One war vet stands up and says, if they can do this, damn, what stops them coming after the rest of us? Jolene doubles down, sends glossy flyers to residents, big red letters. Protect Spring Pines from encroaching dangers. They doctor a photo of my deer stand to make it loom over a playground. Put my name on it. That was it. We file a defamation suit. Logan collects every flyer, every doctored image, puts them all in a binder labeled Exhibit A, Lies by HOA. Hearing day comes. Room packed, half-collared shirts and HOA tags, half-camo hats and work boots. Logan lays it all out. My property, county codes, fraudulent warrant, the flyers, the doctored images, the sheriff's signed letter saying no wrongdoing. Then he brings the hammer. This HOA president knowingly submitted false testimony to initiate rezoning, violating state planning law and federal land ownership protections. Silence. Jolene tries to speak, gets cut off by the commission chair. You filed under false pretenses. That's abuse of process. Petition denied on the spot. By week's end, the county ethics committee opens an investigation. Sheriff's office launches a probe into the fraudulent tip. Jolene stops showing up in public. Her name vanishes from the HOA's website. Some say she stepped down, others that she's under investigation for filing false documents. The deer stand? Still there. I add a solar-powered floodlight underneath, just a reminder of what happens when you try to take what isn't yours and find out some folks don't scare easy. 3 weeks after the petition's crushed, I think it's over. Flyers stop. Mail threats vanish. No board members lurking. Then, one morning, I find fresh survey flags, bright blue and pink, peppering my eastern line, a plastic ribbon sectioning off half an acre of my woods. There's a sign nailed to a sapling. Future site, Spring Pines Greenway Extension, Nature Trail, and Observation Deck. Approved by municipal easement request. I drive to the county recorder. Clerk named Seth, big glasses. Coffee stain, searches 20 minutes, shakes his head. No easement filed. That sign's bogus. I send a photo to Logan, who calls back serious. They forged a municipal easement. That's criminal. Fraud. Deputy Haverson walks the property line with me, collecting the fake flags. Trail cam footage catches 2 men in high-vis vests and HOA polos, hammering in stakes just after midnight. One's tossing beer cans in the brush. We hand over the footage. Warrants issued. Unauthorized entry. Fraud. Turns out, both men were HOA board members. Word gets around. The sheriff holds a press conference. HOA engaged in unlawful activity, forged documents, illegal land development. Board members resign left and right. including Jolene's vice president and the treasurer's wife, who'd been handling landscaping contracts. But Jolene doesn't quit. At a closed-door HOA meeting, she appoints herself interim compliance director, a made-up title to let her fight back. Memo goes out to every resident. A nurse named Mallory lives just outside the boundary, drops off the memo. I got kids. I don't want someone like her deciding what happens in my backyard. I ask if she'll speak at the next county meeting. Absolutely, she says. We organize a panel of outsiders, teachers, veterans, biologists, a city planner, folks with nothing at stake except being sick of unelected zealots running wild. Then the fire comes. I'm fixing the shed roof when I hear popping, run around, see smoke. The deer stands burning. I get there, boots sliding. Watch the platform collapse. Smell of burning sap, torch fuel. Fire investigator finds accelerant traces. 2 days later, neighbor's camera catches a figure near the tree line, short stride. Left leg limp. Jolene's got a limp, old tennis injury. Sheriff brings her in, finds torch fuel, matches in her trunk. Not enough to arrest, but enough for a watch. We file a civil suit, trespassing, fraud, property damage, harassment, defamation, environmental damage. County requests a full audit of HOA finances. They find a mess. Fake invoices, shell companies, landscaping contracts paying triple, safety payments covering private travel. Jolene had been funneling dues into accounts under her cousin's name. The residents revolt, vote to dissolve the board, appoint a temporary oversight panel. Jolene's charged with felony fraud, criminal trespass, filing false public notice. The day they arrest her, she tries to run, doesn't get far. Deputy Haverson tackles her by the back gate, cuffs her as a crowd watches. I rebuild the deer stand with steel brackets, blaze orange paint. No more hiding. The new committee sends a letter of apology with a check for $2,000 to help rebuild. I donate it to the volunteer fire department. The land's quiet again. No signs, no orange stickers, no midnight cruise. Just the wind and my trail cam, still watching, just in case. It's fall when the court date for the civil suit lands. I stack firewood, try not to think about it. We bring boxes of documentation, Logan with his color-coded binders. The courtrooms full, reporters, ex-HOA residents, Sheriff Holcomb. Jolene's not there. Her lawyer claims stress-related complications. Judge doesn't comment. Logan opens with the timeline, documents, trespass, misuse of public resources. Evidence goes in, no objections. Forensic accountant testifies. Over 70% of HOA discretionary budget funneled to companies linked to Jolene's family. Judge asks, have criminal referrals been made? Yes, Your Honor. Defense tries to settle, lump sum, apology, full release for the new board. Logan stands up. Respectfully, we decline. We're not here for money. We're here for precedent. We ask for permanent injunctive relief, dissolution of the HOA charter, and a court-appointed trustee. Judge grants it, strips the HOA of authority, bars all prior board members from office for 10 years. Reporters swarm us outside. I just hold up the ruling and say, this is what happens when you push too far. That's all they need. District Attorney announces indictments. Jolene faces wire fraud, conspiracy, land seizure under false pretense, denied bail. Board members caught with the survey flags get probation. Community service, forced to apologize publicly. County Commission implements new HOA rules, clear boundaries, open financials. Any attempted rezoning without consent is an automatic denial. For the first time, folks actually show up to meetings. Mallory's elected to the new community council. She sends me a note, a photo of a doe crossing by my rebuilt stand. I frame it. The stand's stronger than ever. There's a little brass plaque inside. Private property, no trespassing, no exceptions. A few months later, I get a letter from the State Landowners Association, asking me to speak at their conference. I decline, send them the court ruling as a model for other rural communities. I don't want a spotlight, just peace. Now, when I climb that stand, I don't look over my shoulder. The woods are mine again, quiet, steady, honest. And if anyone ever tries to take that away, they'll find out, just like Jolene did, that some fences don't need boards. And nails. They're built with resolve. And mine's not going anywhere. So tell me, where do you stand? When it comes to property rights, justice, and standing up to bullies? What would you have done? Drop your story or your take below, and if you've ever tangled with an HOA, I want to hear about it. Because in the end, what keeps us free isn't the paperwork, it's refusing to let go of what's right.